Hey everyone, Sakurayasen here, and today I'm doing a speed painting, and it's actually my, I don't know, fourth attempt at doing a speed painting, but all the others were abject failures, and I have this thing where I feel like I need to impress with speed paintings, and so I think like, oh, I should do something different, like a landscape or something. And I tried and I failed pretty hard. So finally, I thought, fine, I'll just do something that I'm more comfortable with. So a floating girl, okay, I've done these before, so it shouldn't be too hard. But I still wanted to make it a bit different. So I tried this new thing. I started with the pen tool, or no, pencil tool. Sorry, pencil tool, not the pen tool. And I just made blobs of color going from red to green, like a yellow green and then a blue green. And then I made it into a shape of a person. And the proportions are crazy because they're my proportions, and those are pretty. I mean, not my proportions as in my human proportions, but the proportions I have developed for my style thing. So it's pretty nonsense, but yeah. So I did that, and then I just used a line to, like the part right now, it's just cleaning things up, defining things. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory at this point. And I felt, okay, so it goes from red to green, and then I should bring a little bit of green into the higher areas, like the red areas, and a little bit of red into the lower areas. And it's almost a, what would you call it? A complementary palette with the colors all beside each other. I guess it is a complementary palette because, red, orange, yellow, green. And here I'm bringing in the colors. But it's, I didn't want to keep it just duochromatic. I didn't want to keep. I wanted to have a bit more variation, so that's why I tried the green thing, and I don't know, it's okay. It seems to be okay, so it's probably something I'm gonna try again with using that many colors. So from red to green. I guess if I look at it on the color wheel, you've kind of just taken the entire wheel and cut it in half, and anything on one half of it is acceptable. So suppose I did that, and then I'm just trying to, like, it's something I mentioned in another speed painting I've done with a dragon and a girl. I don't know if it ended up being a dragon. I think it ended up being some monster thing that is not a dragon. But anyway, just trying to use all the tools at my disposal. So right now what I've done is, and I use this on a turnaround that I did, animated thing. And what I've done is just, I duplicated the layer and I adjusted the levels, and then that makes it so it's, I adjusted it so it's much darker and then much lighter. So then what I did is I added a layer mask. I mean, you may have to go back and see what I did, but I'm going to do the same thing a few times. And it's just making a change and then putting a layer mask on it, and then filling it with black. And what that does is it makes everything invisible on that layer. And then as you paint into the black with white, it reveals what you've done. So basically what I had done is I used it as a way of adding shadows and highlights without worrying about the color changing at all. And I don't know, it's pretty nice because you still get the feeling that you're painting, almost like you're sculpting, right? But you don't have to repaint all the little areas, and you also don't have to do it in grayscale, because that was the other thing is, I guess the more common method is to just start your painting in black and white, and then, which is still good because you get the values correct, but start your painting in black and white, and then what you do is add a color layer, or use color balance, or use another method of adding color on top. And this is kind of the opposite. It's start with the color, and then because you've got your layer adjustment layers, not adjustment layers, layer masks, you can add the value on top. So that's what I was doing. And then now it's sort of a case of adding more detail. Something I struggle with quite a bit is presentation, making something look finished. And like with the if I'm doing concept work on a character or sometimes a creature, usually not a creature, but if I'm ever doing creatures, then it's still sketchy to a point. I do more finished work with, well, I used to do more finished work. I haven't done really finished, tight, clean work in a while. But I'm trying to develop this thing, which I've seen other artists do, where you're working quickly, but it still looks finished, or it can be sketchy, but still finished looking. And I don't think I've got that yet. So I got to keep practicing to get that, I suppose. Unless there's something that, I don't know, maybe studying graphic design could help. Here what I'm doing is more experimentation. I'm really just playing around with like color balance and different layer modes and seeing like what does this do? What does that look like? And then here I found a thing with color balance that I could make some vibrancy, and then I put it as a screen layer, so now I'm painting with white on the black layer mask and it's revealing it, and that is making these highlights. Like, I don't know, they look okay to me. I mean, it's probably not great or anything, but again, it's just my first time really experimenting with this, and it's cool. I mean, I'm going to use the technique more. I don't know if I'm going to use the starting with paint blobs. I think maybe it's a better idea to just start with drawings, because paint blobs, it's kind of hard to control. If you're just doing a figure standing, like this figure, kind of, 3/4 view, but basically just straight up and down in the center of the page, it's not too hard. But if I was doing a complicated pose, I think that would be pretty difficult. And here I'm putting red in the green part of the eyes because, again, it's the most contrast. And I want the most contrast to be at the top of her face. So this is also what I'm doing. I lowered the saturation of the entire piece, put it on a layer mask, and then made it only affect the bottom part, so the top part still is more saturated. And now what I'm doing is I've duplicated the same layer a bunch of times, and I'm using the hue and saturation to change all the colors, but then I'm only revealing parts of it. So again, it's pretty self-explanatory. So near the top of the head, I made it go from red to blue. Just experimenting. I mean, maybe it looks kind of dumb, and I'm toning it down by lowering the opacity a bit. Just because if it's too strong, it's like, okay, fine, it's too strong. Should I completely get rid of it, or should I just tone it down a bit? And it's a lot of fixing, and it's a bit different because I'm so used to drawing with pen on paper and not having the ability to fix. And now I'm starting to see that a lot of artists seem to have this process that is much more put it down and fix it, and put down more stuff and fix it, and see what appears. And I think that's kind of interesting as a technique to pursue. So yeah, doing that. I made the things a bit more gold on her yellower areas. I kind of made it look like gold, and that's a bit more about I guess fundamentals of light and shadow. I mean, I haven't done it yet in terms of I'm doing it right now, so making it look more shiny. See, just some basic, I don't know, ideas. It's not perfect, but it's like understanding how gold reflects and how the values remain, like the values reflect, but the color stays gold and within that range, from like brown to orange to yellows, which, like, because gold isn't one color, it's a few colors put together side by side that makes things look like gold. So now it's more polishing and refining and making things look, I guess, presentable. I don't know. Maybe it's silly. I guess it is, but again, it's just experimenting, and I guess I have run out of things to say, but I've still got more video left. So let me think. Oh, in the back. And right now what I'm doing is just thinking like, maybe if I add more detail. I mean, clearly I'm lost and I don't know what I'm doing, but it's like, okay, what if I do this? What if I do that? What if I add some detail to these green areas? And I'm going to put some highlights on them, but only where the light is shining, and it seems to be enough. Like, you don't actually have to put detail everywhere. You just need to put detail in certain spots, and then your eye's already fooled into imagining the detail everywhere else. And the background, man, this was tricky because you want to give a background that makes the character pop off the page, but because I used so many different colors, it's kind of, I'm running into problems now. So at first I was trying like, maybe some greens and stuff, and then I thought, maybe I can tone it down with grays. And now what I'm doing is I'm using these brushes by I think he's called Deharme, Deharme, and the brushes I'm using and everything I'm using, like sometimes I use paper textures and stuff. It's all available on www.cycra.net. In the resources section, you'll find a list of brushes. So if you want these type of brushes, this is my first time playing around with them, and they're pretty cool. But again, I don't really know how to use them. So, but anyway, his name is Deharme. So just look for those brushes and you can download them. It's something I really don't do. I use the tool presets. You can see on the left side, there's a tool presets, and I use like 4 brushes. I use soft eraser, chalk brush, soft brush, hard brush, and smoke brush, and sketching brush, and sometimes one other brush, like the stipple, whatever brush. But I'm seeing that maybe that's why I don't have as much presentation compared to some other people. Maybe it's the brushes, maybe it's something else. I mean, if you have any advice, feel free to leave it in the comments on how to achieve presentation. I'm guessing it's graphic design. I think that's the key. If it is, then that's just I'll figure it out regardless. So there's no worries about that. It's just, am I going to figure it out quickly, or is it going to take a bit more time? So here, just a bit more detail on the face, because the face is super important. That's the first place people are going to look. And when I look at the whole thing, I don't think it's working quite, but it's okay. And for an experiment, there's some things I can do that I can carry over to future images. So it's not like it's a complete waste. But yeah, this whole layer mask thing is pretty cool. So I hope this helped, and thanks for watching.